Welcome to TalkNorth.com. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Two promo codes to be aware of. BiteSquad.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. And go to SodaStick.com, the great local apparel company. Use the promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order. I always love talking to Roy about baseball. It's even more fun when the Twins are actually good, and it looks like they are very good. We're talking here on Wednesday afternoon before they wrap up their homestand, which has also basically already been a success. They'll finish a 3-game series in Toronto. They'll have the day off, and they'll come home for another homestand and play Detroit, who is struggling. And that's one of the many things I want to get to, Roy, is the fact that the schedule really does set up for this team well. The division sets up well. It looks like it's a good team. We're going to get to all kinds of stuff. But the first thing I want to get to on Roy Smalley's chin music, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network, is Martin Perez. Because I don't know that I've ever seen a 28-year-old pitcher come in, meet a new pitching coach, mess with his delivery, and all of a sudden look like a completely different human being than he ever had been before. Well, let's get Roy's thoughts on that. I do want to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and our sponsors, Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com, and Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, also BiteSquad.com. We'll tell you more about them later. Have you ever seen anything quite like this, Roy?
I have not. Martin Perez, let me back up. I've been asked about that. I've been thinking about this, and I can't think of another example that is this stark a difference between the 90-mile-an-hour sinker ball pitching, throwing guy with the Rangers who got relegated to the bullpen because he couldn't figure it out. He's trying to throw sinkers and come up with some kind of breaking ball to go with the sinker. And I think we have to give credit where credit is due. This might be the most amazing job of doing your job in a combination of the front office guys, especially Thad Bean, knowing this guy, knowing about him, knowing what his arm is like, and saying, and then going to the new pitching coach and say, I think we, have something in this guy. Here's the video on him and all this kind of stuff. Or I think it could get something out of this guy. And the pitching coach says, they call him up before he ever signs. Says, enough of this sinker stuff. Throw the ball hard. You got a great arm. Here's some mechanical things that we can change that will get you throwing harder. And at some point in time, either in that conversation or after they signed him, they got to spring training, and he has this cutter. And he goes, yeah, use that. So we got the sinker ball, 90-mile-an-hour sinker ball throwing, failure to a guy that is now, it appears, because it looks to me like it's real stuff, is going to be the number 2 guy in the rotation based on stuff and the way he's pitching. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And congratulations, to Thad Levine and Wes Johnson, the pitching coach, for seeing something in this guy and getting out of him the max that or the most that he can do. It's remarkable. This is real stuff. That cutter is Andy Pettit is reminiscent of Andy Pettit to me. I mean, he just burying it in on right-handers. And it's really hard to hit. 85-mile-an-hour fastball when he wants to. He's got a changeup that he's working on. It looks pretty good. All kinds of things could go wrong, but the way he's pitching right now with the stuff that he's taken up there, it looks like the real deal all of a sudden.
The only parallel I can think of is when Rick Anderson first came in as the pitching coach. LaTroy Hawkins was kind of bouncing around, had failed as a starter, had failed as a closer, but they didn't want to give up on him because they liked him and his arm so much. And Eddie Guardado had been, just kind of a one-batter lefty who graduated to kind of a setup guy. And Rick Anderson came in, and all of a sudden LaTroy's throwing 100, and Granado's an all-star closer. And I don't know that he completely overhauled their mechanics the way Wes Johnson has with Martin Perez, but there was something good going on there too. But this is stunning. You look at Martin Perez's year-by-year statistics; he's never pitched the way he's pitching right now.
Right, and the other two guys that I thought about, Johan Santana, was a Rule 5 guy, came out of nowhere, was in the bullpen, and developed that great changeup, and the rest was history. And in like manner, Frank Viola came up in 82-ish, I think, and I think it was his first year, and he was a fastball and curveball and little slider sometimes and changeup guy, and Johnny Padres got him to believe in becoming a fastball changeup guy, and he won MVP and a Cy Young. But those guys, I mean, it wasn't a complete overhaul. It was here's a strategy for how to pitch with the pitches you have. It wasn't a complete overhaul of, you're throwing 90-mile-an-hour sinkers. We think you can throw 95. That's going to work better, and it has. And oh, by the way, that cutter you got could be pretty special. And he's standing out there on the mound, so just to finish that thought, I mean, I think there are other guys that have, transformed themselves, but, not to this degree. It just completely different guy. And he's standing out there on the mound right now with the best, just this wonderful attitude that, here, hit this, because I don't think you can. Here, try this. He knows what he wants to do, and he's throwing the ball in good spots and throwing it with plenty of stuff on it whenever he throws. So as I said, it's remarkable.
I got really lucky with my spring training timing. I usually like going early. All the stories are fresh. People are just relaxed. This time I went down in the middle of camp, and I landed on one night. The next morning I drove up to Bradenton to see Perez pitch, and I was like, what's this going on here? Who is this guy? I mean, it was like, he was throwing 97 with plus a nasty cutter and a slider that could break the right ankle of a right-handed hitter. I'm like, this isn't like some junk baller who's going to be middle relief. This might be one of your best pitchers. It was stunning to me. And really interesting talking to him after the game, because, he didn't do the pitcher, I'm going to be bland and not get excited about anything thing. He was like, I've been talking to Johan Santana. He's teaching me to change up. This is going to be great. I can't believe how hard I'm throwing. It was like, as much as nobody, including me, ever wants to judge anything in spring training, you could tell something was happening.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works. It's not, and what I like about it is in spring training, guys are, you can get fooled by pitchers that throw a lot of breaking balls in spring training, mm-hmm. right? Guys that are curveball pitchers, because guys aren't ready to hit decent breaking balls. They're trying to get their fastball timing down, but when a guy comes in throwing harder than he's ever thrown before, and it's playing against big league hitters even in spring training, you say, okay, boy, do we like the way the ball's coming out of his hand. This looks like it's real, and it looks like it's real. I mean, it really does. I don't know that he goes 18-0, but I just the next step. It's always the next step with someone. The next step is hitters will make adjustments back around, and we'll see if he can continue to trust his stuff and pitch with the same just exuberant confidence that he has right now. And so that's the next step. But I will say that I think that stuff has the ability to continue to do it, and it's mental makeup and all that thing from here.
I want to talk about catchers and closers and Sano. Let's first thank Berry Coffee. I was at my bank this morning doing some business, and there's just a pristine Berry Coffee truck right outside the bank. And the cool thing was then I got to go inside and have some Bull Run from the bank lobby. It kind of felt like stealing. I also tell you that we're moving right now from an apartment that has a coffee service into a house, and I reached out to Steve Brem, the owner of Berry Coffee and Roy's friend, and he basically I said, listen, I want to just buy a good home coffee maker where I can make Bull Run blend And he was way ahead of me. He basically is already sending me basically exactly the same home setup that you have and that he has. And I'm really excited about this.
See how good I am at keeping secrets? I've known this for months. That you were going to get one, and good for you, because it's just there's nothing like making a freshly ground single cup serving on your own kitchen counter with Bull Run coffee. I mean, there's just nothing better. And Jim told me, you're Jim. Steve told me many moons ago that he was going to do that, and he said, next time you guys come out, when you see the new roaster, the roasting facility, I'm just going to have one there for Jim. And they've had some delays in getting the roaster over here and getting it online and all those kinds of things. So when you reached out to him, it was just, well, okay, fine, I'm just going to send it to you. That's great.
We should, and I hope to get out to the roaster sometime this summer. June or July would be a perfect time to go out and talk Twins baseball and get free coffee, which is the best part. So we're not going to do like a traditional Berry Coffee ad. Just, they're great people, great service. You see the trucks everywhere because they are everywhere. Minnesota-based company that is very green, that is very charitable, and hardworking people. And I can't wait to drink their Bull Run blend, which, by the way, you can get in certain Kowalskis around the metro, including the one on Lake Street in southern Minneapolis. So check it out, berrycoffee.com. Check out all their equipment and all the different beverages they can provide for you, your business, your favorite restaurant, your favorite bar, berrycoffee.com. Let's go with the closer situation. You and I were talking this winter saying, man, it'd be great if they get Craig Kimbrell, and it's become pretty obvious that Kimbrell is not going to get signed before the draft because nobody wants to pay a very high amount of money and give up a draft choice. And so here we have the Twins with an unsettled closer situation or a strategic closer situation, depending on how you want to look at it. And they are 11 for 12 in save situations. The only blown save they've had was by Mejia, who really isn't being used late in games anymore. So, that's the fascinating thing about these personnel decisions, and all of us who want the Twins to spend more money is, I don't think Craig Kimbrell would be better than 11 out of 12 at this point. Yeah,
I mean they've been very good using the pitchers that are out there in, as you say, strategic situations, and that looks like that's going to be the deal this year. We'll see as we get past the cutoff for when you'd have to give a draft choice or international money, to sign a free agent. If it coincides with the strategy not working well and losing ball games between now and then because they're blowing saves, then that might put a different spin on that. But to this point, the arms that they have down there, most notably Taylor Rogers and Blake Parker, they've been able to use in matchup situations in whatever inning they felt like it was necessary. The other night it was, Blake Parker in the eighth, and finish with Taylor Rogers because they liked the matchup that he had, the right-hander had against the Yankee hitters that were coming up. It got a little tense both with Parker and with Taylor Rogers, but it has worked. And so I like both of those guys in the Twins bullpen. Would I like would I like the resurrection of Dennis Eckersley out there? Absolutely. But we'll ride this for a while, because if it works, it becomes genius material for both the front office and for the way the manager Rocco ends up using them.
Absolutely. And listen, for a team that wants to operate on a certain budget, it's also fairly ingenious if you can make it work, and if you can use people strategically, and if you can rest people because you have other options. Then all of a sudden you go from paying the closer position maybe $10-15 million to being able to pay, basically spread that money out among a smaller group of people, and be able to have a more affordable roster. And we're kind of seeing that with the lineup, where Joe Mauer's money is now being spent on 3 sluggers who have made this a much deeper and better lineup. I always hesitate to get into the money because people just